We are finally to the solutions video for this lesson. Please make sure that you don't watch these solutions until you have really tried on your own to do this entire check for understanding. Okay, let's just dive right in. Number 2, medical study variables. Data from a medical study contain values of many variables for each of the people who were the subjects of the study. Here are some of the variables recorded: gender, age, race, smoker, systolic blood pressure, level of calcium, and that's it. So they want you to identify every variable and then categorize it as quantitative or categorical. So you should have 6 variables, and I just went in order. So gender is categorical because the description is using words, female or male. Age is quantitative. You can average years. Race, they write it out for you, so those are words. Race is categorical. Smoker is categorical because your options or your words are yes or no. Systolic blood pressure is measured in millimeters, which means you're working with a number. So that's got to be quantitative. And then your level of calcium is micrograms per milliliter. So that means like 10 or 11 or 50. So that is also quantitative. So you had 3 categorical and 3 quantitative. Our next page, number 3. Here is a small part of the data set that describes the students in an AP statistics class. The data come from anonymous responses to a questionnaire filled out on the first day of class. So the cool thing about tables like this is that this top row, these bolded words are your variables. So by the time you're done, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables described on part B. A, what individuals does this data set describe? Well, they very specifically tell us that the data set describes students in an AP class. So you can't just say students. You have to say students in an AP class. Right here, I've just written a note that says, notice the difference in categories. There's words versus numbers. So list the variables and label each as categorical or quantitative. This little note that I put here is going to help us decide that. So I just started at the leftmost variable. It is gender. And it is described using words or an abbreviation F and M. So male, female, that's categorical. Hand means are you left or right-handed? Those are words, that's categorical. Height, notice they have numbers listed here, quantitative. Homework time, once again, numbers, that means it's quantitative. Category of favorite music, those are words, so that's categorical. Pocket change is listed using numbers, so that is quantitative. Now the next part is the challenging part. You can just list it out, or you can try to write it in a paragraph that makes sense grammatically. So it says describe the individual in the highlighted row. So you could say female, left-handed, 58 inches tall, spent 60 minutes on homework, favorite music is alternative, and they had 76 cents in their pocket. That is just basically listing out all of the characteristics of that individual. My response is more of a paragraph with full sentences and grammatically correct. Either one is fine. You may want to write mine down just so that you have a reference of how you could have written it. But either way, like I said, would earn you full credit. So how I wrote it was, this student in the AP statistics class is a right-handed female who is 58 inches tall. She spent 60 minutes on homework. Her favorite music is alternative, and she had 76 cents in her pocket. So that's using full sentences. And then one more time, I'm just going to list out the categories so that you one more time have an example of that. So I'm just going in order. You could say female, right-handed, 58 inches tall, spent 60 minutes on homework, favorite music is alternative, had 76 cents in their pocket. Now, if you're listing it out, make sure that you're using commas. Don't just have one big run-on sentence with all the words jammed together. At least say female, comma, right-handed, comma, 58 inches tall, comma. I wouldn't necessarily make a list. I don't think that a list is the best idea, but you could make just one run-on sentence and put commas in between each thing. Okay, and then the last one is at the Census Bureau, you can view detailed data collected by the American Community Survey. The following table includes data for 10 people chosen at random for the more than 1 million people in households contacted by the survey. School gives the highest level of education completed, and then they want you to go through and identify how many variables and which type of each. So like I mentioned on the last one, this top row is giving you the number of variables. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables. So you're going to choose C or D or E. The next thing that you do is identify how many are categorical. So I'm going to go in and look for words. The only one that has words is school. However, gender is kind of trying to confuse you here. Notice that they have coded gender as a 1 or a 2. But we know that it doesn't make sense to average gender. Obviously, a 1, well, actually, it doesn't tell you. A 1 might be female and a 2 might be male. Even though we can average 1 and 2, we could add these up and average it, we still know that we can't have an average gender. So we had to recognize here that even though they coded it as a 1 or a 2, gender is always categorical. To help myself down here at the end of each one, I just labeled it Q or C, and then it was really easy for me to say, okay, 6 variables, 2 categorical. So make sure that when you're going through these tables, you're actually going through and really analyzing or carefully looking at the data. Don't just look at the numbers without really matching up. Okay, gender, 1, 2, school, travel time, so on and so forth. What was I going to say? Don't forget that on your graph cards, number 1, don't lose these. I'm actually going to have us glue these or tape these to our flashcards. So don't lose these. Keep these in a spot where you can keep track of them. And make sure that you start memorizing the names of each plot, because remember, you're going to have a quiz soon where you're going to have to identify each plot. You're not going to have to tell me any data from the plot. I just want you to know that this is called a box and whisker, and you only can use that for quantitative data. So maybe what you should do is go through and label each one with a Q or a C so that you remember when you're studying for your quiz which one belongs to each type of variable. So this is categorical, 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 cat, quantitative. So you need to know both. You need to know their names and whether or not they describe categorical or quantitative. This front page would be a good page to study so that you remember that. These 4 are all categorical, remember their names. These 4 are all quantitative, remember their names. So On Friday, I'm not sure if I'm going to upload anything. So if you have me for a day on Friday, maybe just log in and check to see if anything's there. But for now, the plan is to let you guys finish up this lesson. I'm not sure if you had enough class time to actually go through these solutions, and then that's probably it. So hopefully this was easy for you to follow. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me in Canvas. I should get back to you pretty quickly. I know that these weren't the best quality videos, but I really appreciate if you hung in there and did the best that you can. Okay, can't wait to see you guys again.